Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, Giants Nation. So much to talk about, so little time to talk about it. The Giants lead at halftime 17-3 over the Raiders. First question, right? Because why even try to pretend as if like I don't already know the answer in some capacity? But how many of you Giants fans are happy that the Giants are winning right now? How many of you people who are diehard New York Giants fans are out here going, man, I'm so happy that they're winning right now, 17-3. I can tell you just for the record, like I am happy that they're winning. And not because I'm a Giants fan or because I want to like make fun of Giants fans or anything like that. Like it's good for it's so much better for content creators of sports teams, right? If things are going well. Like anybody remember Monsters Inc., right? In Monsters Inc., they're like feeding off of fear. That's how they get the energy to be able to fuel, the city and all that kind of stuff. And what they realize at the end of the Monsters Inc., spoiler alert, is that like happiness and joy and Londale, I mean, and laughter and all that. That's how you get the most out of it. It's the same thing in a creator space, right? For people who talk about a sports team, for people who do content on a sports team, for people who podcast about a sports team, the best is when a team is doing well, is winning, because it evokes good feelings. People want to tune in, they want to watch, they want to see what you have to say, all that. When a team is losing, yeah, you might be able to get like some traction, but it's all negative and it never lasts, right? It's all negative, it never lasts. Like negativity eventually runs its course. Positivity or joy never runs out of style. Never runs out of style. And so I like to see the Giants winning because I think that you cannot start winning until you start winning. Does that make sense? It doesn't. Okay, cool. You can't start winning legitimately without knowing how to win. And you can't learn how to win by losing on purpose. This is the fundamental difference between where the Giants are and where the Raiders are. The Raiders are losing on purpose, right? They're sitting people. I feel like they purposely didn't make moves to improve their offensive line. They went out and got people that the Giants didn't even want on their offensive line to play offensive line for them, right? Like guys who were not going to start anywhere else that went to start with the Raiders, and you can see it. On the offensive line is terrible. It's been terrible, and if they want to be better, they're going to have to change everything about their climate, but they're going to have to do it based off losing. Sitting down Max Crosby when he's not hurt. Max Crosby showing that to the world exposes, hey, you care more about losing to get a potential first number one overall pick than you do about developing the winning attitude and culture that's necessary. Let me let you in on a little secret, all you people that say, hey, we are wasting our opportunity at the number one overall pick by winning. Here is a trivia question for you. Name the last person, not any particular position, just player that was drafted number one overall that won the Super Bowl for the team that drafted them. Name that guy. I'll keep talking, put it in the chat as you guys immediately scroll through Google and try to figure it out. I know the answer because it's one of the reasons why I don't believe in tanking. I am on Wan'Dale Robinson watch. I can care less about a lot of things that are going on offensively, but I am on Wan'Dale Robinson watch. I also wanted to see how Jackson Dart would come out this game, how they would call the game for him, to see what the differences would be in the play calling. This is clearly a different called game than was called last week. And if they try to tell you that it's not, then they're lying. And it's not because they're playing the Raiders. This is just a different play calling. And I think it's because they got so much backlash and almost turned Jackson Dart into somebody that people thought you could get better than in this draft. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't. There's nobody better than Jackson Dart in this draft. Not at all. There's nobody better than any of the quarterbacks that were in last year's draft that are in this draft. There's nobody better than Dart. There's no one better than Shuck, excuse me. There's no one better than Shador. There's no one better than Cam. There's no one better than well, maybe there's somebody better than Dylan Gabriel, but not by much. There's people who are taller than Dylan Gabriel. There's some guys who might have more arm strength than Dylan Gabriel, right? But overall, not better. Fernando Mendoza is not that dude. I know people want to make him that dude because he won the Heisman, but just go watch him play. He's a good college football player. But that team, you could have dropped any quarterback into that team that's a high-functioning college quarterback, and they would have done the same thing. Just do yourself a favor, and I said this on the last pod. Drop Jackson Dart into that Indiana offense and imagine what it looks like, right? Drop Jalen Milroe into that Indiana offense and imagine what it looks like with all of his tools, all of his gifts, with his big arm, with those Big Ten defenses that tend to be a little bit slower than SEC defenses as a whole, right? So the Giants have the guy. And this is the difference between this year and last year. Remember last year when they won that game, and they won that game with essentially a meaningless, a meaningless quarterback. Who was the quarterback at that time? I think it was, it doesn't even matter. But shout out to Big Moo, by the way. Good to see you, Big Moo. We'll be back Monday with a new pod. Be ready. But they won that game, and everybody was upset, and it's legitimate reasons. Shout out to Elijah Henderson. What's up with your boss? Ryan DePonte, what's up? I don't know if Wan'Dale will get a touchdown, but I think he's going over 1,000 yards today. That's what I'm watching for. But yeah, they won a meaningless game, and everybody was up in arms. And I actually didn't like the win. I respected the win, but I didn't like the win because you were building something with people who were not going to be here next year. The difference between this year is that Jackson Dart's going to go into the offseason and all next year as the unquestioned starter for the Giants. Why not get the winning started now? I think New Orleans is doing the perfect thing, something that the Browns didn't do. They turned over the offense to Tyler Shuck. They let him just throw the ball all over the yard. They lived with the mistakes. They reveled in the highs, right? And because of it, they've won some games down the stretch. And people are saying he's the reason, right? He just had a great day today. Well, guess what? The Giants have the opportunity to do the same thing down the stretch. Jackson Dart, get him on a winning thing right now. Don't wait until the end and see how it propels you into 2026. Wan'Dale Robinson getting over 1,000 yards is impressive when you think about the fact that he's not the number one wide receiver. Darius Slayton, while Darius Slayton has never received the level or the amount of targets that Wan'Dale Robinson has, it's ridiculous. I'm still going to harp on it. I don't care what you guys say. You have to respect the fact that Wan'Dale Robinson this year has done a lot more with those targets than he did last year. Last year, those targets was wasted. We talked about it all the time. A bunch of empty calories. If you follow fantasy, he was a PPR darling but it was a scam artist because he would have all of these catches for no yards, right? This year, he has the yards to go with the catches. I said there was no reason why Wan'Dale Robinson shouldn't average over 10 yards a reception. He's on his way to that this year, right? He's got 9 receptions for 97 yards. 9 receptions for 97 yards, which puts him, I believe, 2 yards short of 1,000. That is the type of season that you can build off of when you slide him back into that number 2 role, right? When you slide him back into that number 2 role and you put Malik Neighbors as the number 1. If this is what he's going to do, continue to give him those targets along with Malik Neighbors. Neighbors got a ton of targets last year. Wan'Dale got a ton of targets last year. Wan'Dale got a ton of targets this year. This can be the future. Darius Slayton then becomes your wide receiver number 3, right? Slayton becomes your wide receiver number 3, and now you've got a guy who we understand can stretch the field, can get yards in chunks and bunches. Even today, he's got 1 reception. It's for 21 yards. Like, that's what Darius Slayton brings to the table. So now we just recalibrate and we keep the thing moving. You'll get back, you'll get back an important piece to your running game with Cam Scatterbo next year. Hopefully he's good to go. If there's any indication that he might not be good to go get into this draft and find one of these dudes late in the draft. There's a lot of guys that are going to be in this draft that won't be highly touted, but can come in and be like a ball player. And so don't be afraid to keep shooting, right? Shoot or shoot. That's what they do. So that's what I would be on. That's what I think will be necessary. As far as what Elijah's talking about, the draft position being about trade capital, that's cool. It's great, and I get it. I'm not saying I don't understand it. If you have the number 1 pick, then great. If you don't have the number 1 pick, it's not the worst thing in the world, right? It's not the worst thing in the world. Like, I just feel like if you're trying to build, you build through winning. You don't build through losing. I can't name one. There hasn't been one team that has tanked, gotten the first overall pick, and then they're going to win. And right, like, look at it. New England, they didn't have the number 1 pick. Right? They didn't have the number 1 pick. They haven't had the number 1 pick. They're trending upwards. Just a change in philosophy, a reimagining of things will get you on the right track. We're getting started. The kickoff is about to happen. Enjoy the second half. I will be back Monday, a new episode of A Giant Issue. Hey, make sure you guys are out here subscribing. Subscribe. Definitely follow me on X at Gene Clemons. We will see you all soon. Until next time, I'm Coach Gene Clemons. I have a giant issue. Wan'Dale, 1,000. Let's get it.